What if your country's entire economic survival hinged on just one decision? A decision made thousands of miles away. Well, for Pakistan, that's not a hypothetical. That's the reality they're facing right now. Because the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, has just made a call that's going to shape everything. And here it is, the big decision. The IMF has given the green light for a $1.2 billion bailout for Pakistan. Now look, that's a huge number, but it's so much more than just a figure on a spreadsheet. For a nation that's really been struggling to get its economy stable, this is a massive, critical lifeline. But that really is the billion-dollar question, isn't it? Is this money a true lifeline, something that offers a real path to recovery? Or is it more like a leash, with conditions so tight they could end up causing a whole new set of problems? That's exactly what we're going to dig into. All right, so first up, the perfect storm. To really get what's at stake here, we've got to understand why this bailout was even necessary. And the answer isn't just one thing. It was a literal perfect storm of crises all hitting at the same time. Pakistan was just getting hammered from all sides. You've got crippling inflation that's making everyday life incredibly expensive. Then their foreign currency reserves, their savings basically, were just shrinking away. And to top it all off, devastating climate disasters have wiped out billions of dollars worth of crucial infrastructure and agriculture. So without a major injection of cash, the country was looking at the very real possibility of defaulting on its debts. And one of the biggest pressures, maybe the most critical one, was how fast their foreign reserves were disappearing. The easiest way to think about this is like a country's savings account for anything international. It's what they use to pay for imports, to pay back foreign debt, and when that account gets dangerously low, you risk what's called a balance of payments crisis. It's a fancy term that just means the country literally can't pay its international bills. That's the emergency. That's exactly what this bailout is meant to stop. Okay, but let's be really clear here. This $1.2 billion, it's not a gift. Not at all. It's a loan, and it comes with some really serious, and politically very difficult strings attached. Just to even get to the table for this money, Pakistan had to take some tough steps. Steps that are, frankly, super unpopular. We're talking about raising taxes, cutting government subsidies on things like fuel, which, of course, makes daily life way more expensive, and tightening monetary policy. That basically just means making it harder and more expensive to borrow money, all to try and slow down spending. These are really, really tough pills for any government to swallow. And this creates a huge trade-off, a really difficult one. On the one hand, these austerity measures are supposed to get the economy back on stable ground. But on the other hand, they come with a very real social cost. Public frustration boils over as the cost of everything just keeps going up. It's this incredibly delicate balancing act. How do you administer the economic medicine without causing too much pain to the people? And believe me, the expectations don't stop there. The IMF is going to be watching like a hawk for more reforms down the line. They want to see tighter control of the government's budget, a lot more transparency in how every single dollar gets spent, and, this is a big one, a real plan for stronger climate resilience. After the devastating floods they've had, everyone gets it now. Climate instability isn't just an environmental issue, it's a massive economic threat to Pakistan. All right, let's zoom out now and talk about the ripple effect. Because you might be thinking, okay, this is happening in Pakistan, why does it matter to the rest of us? Well, it might be tempting to see it as just a domestic issue, but we're talking about the stability of a nuclear-armed country with over 230 million people. That has huge global implications. Yeah, this quote really nails the geopolitical stakes here. See, this isn't just about helping Pakistan get through today. It's about preventing a much, much bigger crisis. It's about stopping a potential domino effect where the economic collapse of one major country could throw the entire region into chaos. So, how does this actually affect you? Well, a potential collapse in Pakistan could send shockwaves everywhere. It could seriously mess with regional trade, create a ton of volatility in global markets, and disrupt the supply chains that, we all depend on. The bottom line is, in the world we live in today, one country's economic crisis almost never stays in one country. But maybe the biggest challenge of all comes down to one simple idea: investor confidence. That $1.2 billion, it's like a temporary patch. For a real long-term recovery, Pakistan has to convince global investors and businesses that it's a safe, stable place to put their money. Because just one political crisis could spook them, scare away all that capital, and undo all the hard work of this bailout in a heartbeat. So, this all brings us to the final and most important question. What's the path forward? Is this bailout a bridge to a more stable future, or is it just another breaking point in what seems like a long, painful cycle of financial struggle? Market analysts are pretty much all on the same page about this. This bailout, it buys them some time. It gives them some breathing room. It's a bridge to get them over the immediate crisis, but it is absolutely not the finish line. The real recovery, the long-term stuff, that's going to take deep structural reforms and, just as important, political stability. So really, Pakistan is standing at a fork in the road with two completely different futures in front of them. Path one, they use this opportunity, the reforms actually work and take hold, and they could genuinely reset their entire economic course for the next decade. But then there's path two, the reforms stall, politics gets in the way, and they could find themselves right back where they started, knocking on the IMF door all over again. So the question that hangs over everything is this the turning point that Pakistan so desperately needs? I mean, get this. This is Pakistan's 23rd bailout from the IMF. 23rd. So is this finally the time the cycle gets broken, or is it just another temporary fix on a much deeper problem? There's no easy answer here, but one thing's for sure. The next few months are going to decide everything.